Well, it's been one heck of a day. It's been pretty busy. I haven't made a vlog in a bit, and I needed a video for, let's see, day after tomorrow, I think is when I need it by. All good stuff for the most part. I did a bunch of schoolwork last night before bed, thinking I could trick the old Sandman and get more schoolwork done. And then I slept in almost till noon today, which is almost a personal best, I feel like. I have not slept in that late in a long time. And it didn't feel great. It was a little bit like taking the wrong amount of time nap where you wake up and everything's just horrible and you feel gross and disgusting. I jumped out of bed and I realized that I had a chiropractor appointment and I didn't remember what time it was. I thought it was at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I was wrong. I checked my email and the reminder said noon. So, whoops. I look out into our driveway and all the cars are gone. All between my siblings and my parents, all the cars were in use. So, I had to text the place and let them know, hey, I'm not going to be in, basically till later. And so, I was able to edit a video, go grab coffee, then go get my spine adjusted. Had a fun chat with one of the people who works there just about graphic design, the stuff I'm doing in school. And then I got Chipotle, and I came here, which is my thoughtful spot, my Winnie the Pooh thoughtful spot, that I haven't been to in a long time. This is one of the many things that sort of happened naturally over the course of quarantine, was that I would get sort of sick and tired of staying inside my house and, wanting to be a safe and responsible person. I wanted to find a place I could go and be by myself, somewhere that wasn't my house, especially if I wanted to get like a project done or something like that. And so this parking lot sort of became like my de facto office. One of my favorite aspects about this parking lot is you can see so much sky wherever you look. Like there's not a lot of things sort of blocking the view, which is really nice. And so I like it. No matter what time of day, come out here, have the sunroof open, and I can see just blue skies. It's just really nice. The older I get, the more I enjoy discussion. And anybody who knows me knows that I can talk forever. People know this about me. I'm not ashamed of it. It's a fact that I could go on ad nauseum on pretty much any topic that you bring up. So that's just a warning to you. If you bring up a topic in front of me, you best be prepared for me to talk your ear off about my thoughts about it, X, Y, or Z. And some of you may know that every month for the past couple months, I've been uploading podcast episodes with buddies of mine where we'll just sort of talk for like an hour. And it's been so much fun. And maybe at some point in the future, I'll increase the uploads for the podcast from more than once a month. But reliably, I like consistency when it comes to uploads, and I don't like taking on projects that I can't actually follow through with. Getting people available and letting them know ahead of time, or heaven forbid, if they want to understand the weirdness of the backstory and like the lore, they have to like binge a bunch of episodes of the podcast, which I think is funny because several people who I've had on the podcast sort of had to go through the backlog to sort of understand the weird background setting of the podcast, I guess. And no, it's been just a lot of fun. I've been using that Wombo Dream AI app, and I know that there's like 17 AI like art generation apps now that are making their circuits across the internet. I still use Wombo Dream just on my phone, and I really like it. I think one of the big things for me is I wish that you could create images that were landscape instead of only portrait. Just because when I make thumbnails for the episodes, I have to like input the image I want it to sort of base its final image sideways, so that way it processes it correctly, because I want like a full shot of whatever it is. And you can't really do that in portrait mode. So, but I've been using that app like crazy. On the gaming channel, I've been playing through Portal. Just finished the first Portal game. I might play the second one soon. And I've been using that AI art generation app for that as well, which has been really cool. Just I didn't want to use like just a snapshot of the base game that everybody's seen. Most people by this point, if they haven't played Portal, they've already watched their favorite YouTuber, like their gaming YouTuber, play it. So there's nothing really original on that front, which I'm aware of. It's whatever, but I'm really enjoying. There's a lot of creative projects that I have ongoing, and something that I realized somewhat recently is that most, if not all, of my hobbies that I've sort of given to myself are, I mean, it's a lot of extra work, you know? And I don't know if that just says something about me, that I just like keeping busy, or I like having a lot of projects, or just the fact that I have a lot of ideas, and my standards are somewhat high for them, my expectations for the final product, for how they're going to look, sound. However, it's like I have a certain standard expectation of quality that I want for my creative projects. Even if I'm not making any money off of it, I still hold myself to somewhat strict standards as far as quality for little to no return. And like monetary return. I want to make that clear, because I've had a lot of conversations with people over the last couple years, and the whole idea of creating something, let's say YouTube videos or art, comes up. And the thing that I have to constantly ask them, like when we're talking about if they would want to pursue that, is I have to ask them what their motivations are. Because if your motivation is, I want to do this as a career or as a job, nothing wrong with that. However, if that is the base level that you would have to hit in order for you to fully enjoy that hobby, that whatever, then you may want to think very carefully about it. My standard of success is different than it was when I was in middle school. When I was in middle school, I wanted to be a YouTuber like most people my age. I mean, who wouldn't want to just put stuff online and reap monetary rewards from you talking or playing a game or trying weird sodas? Like, who wouldn't want that? Like, that's a lot of fun. There's a lot of creative freedom there. But at the same time, if you can only be happy if you are successful, I guess, by other people's standards, then it might not be as enjoyable. If you can enjoy what you create, regardless of the degree of success by other people's standards, then, I mean, there's nothing better. Because everything that you create, you love and you enjoy. So if you can find something that you enjoy doing, even if it's not garnering a bunch of attention or success, I would strongly advise you to go for that. Within the last couple weeks, my grandparents, their van that they've had for many years now, basically took it into like I don't know if like a garage or someplace, some automotive place for them to sort of look it over. And it's basically so rust ridden that there is no possible way of saving it. So we essentially had to like give it away, the car, the van, which is difficult just because my grandparents loved that van and like used it a lot and was their preferred vehicle for doing a lot of things years ago. And then in concert with, we just found out that the people who bought my grandparents' house, we originally were under the impression that they wanted to keep the house as is, which we were excited about because the last thing we wanted was for it to go away and for there to be like a development there or something like that. And then we found out that the people who bought the house bought it because they had always loved the house, like how it looked, its driveway, like everything about it. They just loved it, like the yards. So we were excited. And then we just found out around the same time as the whole van thing that these folks who bought the house were going to be leveling it because of the basement, because there were too many structural issues basically with the house. So it's a little bit sad. Within the last couple weeks, like the last two vestiges, I guess, of my grandparents' possessions outside of like where they're living right now are gone, which is rough for a lot of folks in my mom's side of the family. So it's very, very difficult. There was a closet in their house, like when you first open up the door, and it was full of old coats and old hats, and it smelled like a bunch of old coats and hats. But up behind it, and I still to this day don't understand why this was there, if it was just for storage. But basically, behind this wall of coats, there's this tiny little, it's not a crawl space, it's like a platform. Like instead of there being a wall, like it goes from the floor up behind the coats, so you can't really see it. And it's not until you spread the coats aside that you see that there's like a little level spot, like this big shelf. And I remember as kids, we used to crawl up inside of there. It was like a little fort. It was like a little secret area you could get into. It was really, really neat. There was that. Another favorite aspect of the house was the basement, obviously. Just all the smells, the billiard table, all of that. The grandpa's workshop. And there was this, on the back porch, way back when my grandparents used to have to get water pumped into their well, there was this tiny little latch, like this trap door almost, that would open up on the side of their house where the hose, I guess, would go inside to fill up the well. And as kids, I mean, we just used that little trapdoor hatch thing all the time to get in and out of the house because it was always fun. And their backyard, so many fond memories of ultimate frisbee games in the front yard and just running around. I remember one time Jonah and I went into their backyard and they had this massive brush pile, and we wanted to make a fort. It's just a bunch of loose sticks and logs. Like, it's very unsafe. And of course, we're like hollowing it out and like pulling stuff out. We were in like our Sunday clothes, and we were crawling around in the dirt and moving stuff out of the way. And yeah, we didn't really go back to that project. I think we found like the skeletons of some like possums and stuff. So we were just like, probably not a good idea. But yeah, so that's been interesting. Just sort of going back through some of that stuff. The memories that I still have are very much still vivid in my mind. So it's gonna be weird driving past there without their house there anymore. It's just something I'm gonna have to get used to. But yeah, overall, life's good.